G'day, welcome to Project Smith Tech. Well, it's come to that time. I need to update my video editing rig. So using the Intel ARC A770 without the resizable bar, although for video editing, it actually hasn't caused that many problems. However, anything else, say like OBS, does not like the card not running with resizable bar. For the case, I am going the Thermaltake Core W200. Now, this is a 2-in-1 kind of deal, so you can put two systems inside the case. And what I'm doing here is I'm legitimately building the Project Smith Tech think tank. There's going to be a couple of videos and my choice and the reason why. But for now, it's time to build the case. Now, I would bring you along for the build. However, we'll be bored to death. So I thought, let's have a quick look at it. So basically what's going to happen is my video editor is going to go in here. And my server's going to go in here. Good times. For the video editor, we're not going anything fancy. We've just got the MSI ACE with the Z690 chipset. Now, the reason why I'm using this board is I was doing an experiment and I wanted the PCI to the CPU to be able to divide, so go 8x8, so by slight bifurcation. But apart from that, yeah, it's nothing too fancy. For the processor, I did get this on special as well. So it is the 12900KS. So KS apparently is slightly better silicon in the processor. For the memory, let's see if we can get these. So massive timings, but that is DDR5. But if you look at the voltage, it's actually relatively low voltage. And for the speeds, it's not that excessive, but it'll do for a video editing. And it's a nice 64 gigabytes of RAM. For the storage for the boot drive, I'm using the 980 Pro. For the works drive, I'll be running these in RAID 0. They're a terabyte each, so that'd give me, well, usable 1.8 terabytes. For the graphics card, I'm just using the A770 for the video editor. I've done plenty of video edits using this card. Tried and true, so pretty good card, in my opinion. And for the power supply, yeah, nothing fancy. I'm going to do some cabling work and whatnot. All right, let's meet when it's all in. Now for the cooler, decided to go the Liquid Freezer 2 420. Now, when I brought this, the Liquid Freezer 3 has not been released. So I would just stick to that instead. Shouldn't be a problem cooling the 12900KS. Now, as for the proof of concept, obviously I didn't go through the process of putting it all together because I'm going to have to pull this stuff out to make shelving for hard drives on the other side for the server side of the case. But I did edit one video. Now for the cooling, that wasn't obviously ideal, but it was perfectly fine. For the settings of the CPU, so this is before I knew any of the drama surrounding the 13 and 1400. I actually had this CPU tuned, so I lock all cores, voltage 1.2, and I was only getting 5.2 gigahertz from all the clock. For the 12900KS, I won't have that in my main video editor anymore, as this will actually serve better in my server. For TureNas, you can actually divide your cores up, and so I thought, well, having 8 E-cores for my main virtualized operating system would be beneficial. So I'll leave the 8P cores to do other experiments with and whatnot. My video editor, I will be upgrading it to the 13th gen. This is the 3900KS, and I will be doing lock cores on this as well. So I'm not particularly worried about the processor degradation here, as I tune my own cores for the workload. And plus you do get an extra 16 megs of L2 cache. So, and DaVinci Resolve really utilizes the E-cores. So I was actually quite surprised. So I don't mind buying this, and this I also got on special, go figure. So anyway, some upgrades, let the fun times begin. Now, despite the size of the case, cable management is, well, virtually impossible. So it's not like you can just route it at the back, because everything that you do from the back, you're going to interfere with the other system that you're going to have. So to make my life easier for cable management, I decided to add the P. So this will give the undercarriage, so I could do all my cable management there without it interfering in the top part. So I tried to resist this part of the case, but anyway, that's the way it is. Not bad. Anyway, I'll take you all along for the build, but again, we would be bored to death. Now I brought this whole thing just basically as cable management of the whole of 2 PSUs for the 2 systems. Nice. All right, enough of that for now. We're going to this is going to be the TureNas system, which is currently got the W680 chipset. Right now, it's got the 12500 CPU in it, and I'll be replacing that with the i9 1200KS. This system I've done mostly validating. I will have to do some more for changing the CPU, but it'll work flawlessly, so it won't be as extensive that I need to go through, but that's all boring stuff. Let's see it get put in the system. One final look, although not that interesting. If you want to see the build of this system, I've got it on a video already on my channel, but I thought it'd be pretty cool. So this side's actually, you can assemble it outside of the case. It's a matter of that. But again, not that interesting, so next phase. Yeah, still needs some cable management. But if we look at this, so I'm going to get an independent RGB controller, and it's only going to be, the lights are only going to be on when the main system is on. So this side, I've still got to do some verification with the cooler and the 12900KS. Make sure that it's all good. Hard drives are going to go in here. I'm going to make some brackets. So all the lighting, fanning, I still got to wire up the other system. But this will do for now. Now, unfortunately for the separate RGB controller, it didn't work once you went too many. So it could only control so many lights at once. Now, I was hoping that I could just get away with putting it through a control box and having that control box separated, but it is a digital signal. So it seemed to know that there was too many fans and it just refused to work, which is disappointing. But I found another way of getting the yellow to work on my system without it taking up any of my CPU resources. So the issue, what I was hoping with the controller, is to avoid using any bit of CPU to power the lights, in which I basically achieved that anyway. You can see here with the Cinebench scores how some of them are going to be a bit different, but that just goes to show you. So a differentiation of 200 points in Cinebench R23 is not that big of a deal, but anyway. So I just used the motherboard header, then delete the software once I got the color that I wanted. And I did cycle this on and off and so on. So, but anyway, apart from that, let's get to the main system. Now I must confess, I haven't quite got around to cable management yet. And as you can see, the coloring, I decided yellow, as that's the Project Smith Tech colors. And plus, this is my lucky screwdriver that I used in almost every computer build that I've done so far. So I've got to be honest, I did actually hesitate a bit with the yellow, given that I did have an eccentric boss once who also liked yellow. But anyway, this is my system going, working. Now, if you want to see me do validation in the BIOS, so just basically me tuning the 13900KS as a workstation specs, if you want to continue watching that, I'll sort of go through it a bit and I'll go through some of the reasons why. Continue watching. If not, Project Smith Tech signing out. Peace. Okay, just started the system. This is the first time running the system with the 3900KS. I haven't updated it to the latest BIOS for safety. So in terms of setting, I'm not going to actually do anything, just to load defaults. All right, let's go in Windows and let's see what we've got to deal with. Okay, so the very first thing that I'm going to want to do is open hardware info. And I just want to make sure that my CPU is not overvolting on the V core, so I'll be quick to check that out. Okay, so we're going to go here. So Intel 3900KS, and wow, would you look at that? So this is the reason why your CPU is degenerated. Look at that. So look at that. We've just got, this is, so this voltage is way too high. I'd never put up with that. Main cores are E cores, and we're seeing volts of 1.4. So even if I was overclocking it hard, I'd only run it at a max V core voltage of 1.35. So 1.4, yeah, it's just way too high. So, but let's do a quick Cinebench score anyway. Yeah, okay, so under full load, it's not too bad, but the fact that it's spiking when it's not under full load is not a good thing either. That 90 degrees on the package. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend a little bit of time just tuning everything, and we'll see that in the BIOS. Okay, we're in the BIOS now. It's time to just do a quick tune. We're doing all core, and for stability's sake, I'm going to go 56 or 5.6 gigahertz on all cores. Enable XMP. V-core voltage, so to stop it from spiking to 1.4 when it definitely doesn't need to. So from a lot of tuning, I found that 1.24 is optimal. So it gives it a little bit of zap. I was hoping to get it to 1.2, but I probably would have had to downclock it 100 megahertz just to get it absolutely stable. So that's what I found was best for this. This is a work. So if I was building up a gaming system, I'd probably go to 1.3 or 1.35, depending on reward and effort. So I'd make it very zappy, but this is a video editing, so that's why I want to just detune it a little bit. And also for the E cores, I would have switched them off. Let's see what our scores are. Okay, so as we can see with the BIOS, doesn't go over. See 5.6 on the P cores, and I'll call that done. Now there was a lot of things that I had to do to make sure that this is stable, so I did run benchmarks, but apart from that, I'd say this system is ready to do some work. What is this? A real server? Subscribe for more.